Hi folks, welcome to the preparedhomestead.com. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. I kind of feel a little bit of a rant coming on. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. We're getting a lot of white stuff. I know you probably can't see, and you can't see it too much, but we weren't supposed to get any until tomorrow, according to the weatherman. And about an hour and a half ago, it just started coming down, but it's not snow. It's like really large chunks of sleet and ice. So the roads are starting to getting pretty slicker than a greased pig at a county fair. I'm telling you, out there, I was driving on the main roads and people are moving pretty slow. But it's tapered off, and then we're supposed to get, I think, the real stuff tomorrow, unless things have changed. I don't know. Was talking to a friend today. He's one of the local, kind of, I guess you could call him the old timers. His family's been in this area for generations. He's just your typical local Ozark farmer. And we were talking about how people here pull together, how it's so different from the rest of the world. And I know that the Ozarks isn't the only place. I'm using an example because, well, I live here. But I get it that there are many rural places across the country that some of you experience the same thing. But it is very different from the rest of the modern world, this modern America that we're seeing so much, where people are so disconnected with each other and hyper dependent upon the system and selfish, and they don't even know who their neighbors are. They don't help. They don't want to help each other because they figure, well, they'll be okay. Someone will come, some government official will come and help them. And I was talking to this friend of mine who, like I said, just one of the old farmers around here, really good guy. And we were talking about how we like it that way here, that there's not a lot of government here. There's not a lot of help. I mean, if you call 911 around here on a good day, you're probably looking at a 45-minute wait. And when it's nasty like this and they're getting calls in, good luck. I mean, that's the truth. And so there is the downside when you live in a very rural, low population area. You don't get all the modern conveniences. We were joking about how there were places here and in other counties that didn't even have electricity brought in till the early 2000s. In fact, most of this county didn't even have electricity service brought in till the mid to late 50s. And there were some places that still didn't have it until the late 2000s, or the early 2000s. And there's places like where I'm at that there's no landline phone service available. I couldn't get it if I wanted it. And that's just a common thing. And we kind of like it that way. We kind of like it because it also means that people have to pull together. The people that I meet that have moved here that aren't from here, they're from a city or just someplace else. Oftentimes they're pretty they're pretty shocked at how people out here, that even a stranger is willing to stop and help you. Even a stranger is willing to come over and help you fix your vehicle or your fence or whatever it is. And while things aren't perfect here, they're not perfect anywhere. We still realize that there's this need for each other to help each other, because if we don't help each other, if we're not building community in a very old-fashioned way, then people are either going to greatly suffer or they're going to turn to government. And speaking with this gentleman, that's what he said. He said, we don't need government out here. We don't want government out here. He said, as far as I'm concerned, they can keep all that stuff elsewhere. He said, we like it how it is. We like the fact that we don't have a lot of those modern services and conveniences, or at least, a lot of them, but we stick together. He said, as long as we have community, as long as we can help each other, we don't need that kind of stuff. And that's really become a big problem. In fact, I've said for many years now that's been a huge part of this globalist, socialist, communist goal, is to get everyone dependent upon the system. And once they do, it's like fishing. You know, you throw your hook out there with the bait on it, and you're hoping something bites. And when something does start to nibble, you got to set the hook. You got to give it a tug to set that hook. And once you have that hook set, there's a pretty good chance that you're going to get that fish in. And it's the same way with people. For the last 100 or so years, they've put that bait out there with a hook on it, or the bait is on the hook. And it's, you know, free health care, it's Social Security, it's disability, it's food stamps, it's, you know, all kinds of convenient services. You know, we'll come out and fix your this, we'll come out and haul you off to the hospital, we'll come out and do this and that. But it comes at a cost, because once you nibble on that bait, they set the hook and now they got you. And once they have you, all they got to do is pull that rug out from underneath you. They can say, listen, you either do things our way or you're not going to have this kind of stuff. And people are in fear because they've gotten so used to that bait. They've gotten so used to that taste that they're not trying to go out there and find their food on their own. They're not out there, you know, hunting and fishing, and I'm using that in a figurative way. They're not out there trying to do for themselves anymore, because they're so dependent upon the system being taking care of them. People don't know how to grow food. People don't know how to fix things. People don't know how to take care of their own illnesses for the most part. They don't know how to work together. People don't know how to just get along. It completely blows me away. It surprises me all the time of how many people, adult people that, you know, they say they're conservatives and all this kind of stuff, and yet they don't know how to just simply get along. They don't know how to look past differences, little things, little quirks, little irritable things that we all have. I mean, it's that way in a marriage, in a family. You know, there's little things that irritate you about the other person, but you look at all the things that you love about the person and you push past that. And so many people just don't know how to do that. It amazes me how many people don't know how to just do for themselves. They don't know how to fix something. They don't know how to, you know, just take care of a problem on their own. Figure it out. This is a huge problem with this country, and this is why I think that is a good reason why that we're headed down a pretty dark path, because more and more of the population, and I'm not talking about just the young people, the Gen Zs, the millennials and stuff. I'm talking about people my age, people even older than me, that they can't do for themselves. They don't know what they would do if, you know, well, what are we supposed to do if we don't have a hospital nearby? Well, what are we supposed to do if I can't just get on the phone and have food delivered, or have the police come and help, or the ambulance come and help? What am I supposed to do if my appliance breaks down, or if the power line comes to the ground, or I don't have this or don't have that? I don't know how. What am I supposed to do if I can't get my car to the mechanic? I don't know what to do. And that this has created a huge problem. You know, it's why people, I was talking to someone the other day about vehicles. People, they were complaining about how, vehicles are so expensive anymore. That's why young people, they can't afford to get ahead, because, you know, they're paying $1,000 a month in vehicle payments. Well, don't get a new car. Buy an old car and learn how to take care of it. That's what I did. That's what a lot of people did. And if they didn't know how, their dad or their grandpa, their uncle did, and they taught them how. I didn't have a brand new car when I was 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, or any of those ages. You know, I bought something that barely ran, and I fixed it up, and I kept it going until I could pay for something a little bit better. And the reason why people aren't doing that, well, there's other reasons, but one of the reasons is no one knows how to fix anything. And of course you can say, well, they've made these vehicles where you can't fix them. Exactly. Another reason not to have, you know, $1,000+ a month payment on a vehicle that you can't even work on. People are not independent anymore. There's like, we've become so distanced from just kind of that rugged individualist, that everything has to be taken care of, everything has to be delivered to us, everything has to be done for us, for the most part. And it terrifies people. It absolutely terrifies people at this thought that safety blanket may not be there. And let me tell you this, that safety blanket is typically more control over your life. It almost always is. That safety blanket is something that can keep you under control. Let's take, for instance, healthcare. I get a lot of people emailing me asking about, we'd love to move to the Ozarks and be self-sufficient and prepared stuff. What's the healthcare systems like? Where's the closest place to the hospital? We need to make sure we're close to a hospital and we're close to doctors and where an ambulance can get to us just in case anything happens. Well, the problem is that if you're hyper dependent upon that stuff, you're hyper dependent upon the pharmaceutical industry, you're dependent upon doctors and medical care. And when they come out and say, well, the only way you can get this medical care anymore is if you do this, this, and this, which that's actually happened in the last few years. People were denied and it couldn't, get access to certain things because they didn't put certain things in their body or they didn't wear certain things on their body. So that's not a far-fetched conspiracy. It's something that actually happened and will continue to happen even more. If you're hyper-dependent upon that system, then when they tell you the only way to have access is to do this, this, and this, what are you going to do? If you don't know how to take care of yourself, odds are many people are going to comply. Not wanting to comply, unwillingly doing it, but they're still going to comply because they need that. Same thing with other things, electricity, water service, everything. Oh, well, you really need this, then guess what? To get it now you have to use digital currency. Now you have to have this digital ID. Now you have to have the proper paperwork. And if you're not independent enough to do without or to figure out a different way, you'll end up complying with it. And that's where all of this nanny state and why it's so evil. For years, for decades, there's been so many people speaking out against it, warning people the dangers of this. Most people, they'll nod their head and say, yeah, that's pretty bad. And yet they'll keep doing it. They keep becoming more and more dependent. They keep, making that umbilical cord even stronger. For what reason? Because it's easier. It's easier to do that. And that's one of the things why I like about out here. There's more and more people. I'm not saying everyone. Not everyone out here. No place is perfect. No place is drug-free. No place is crime-free. No place is, perfectly self-sufficient and all this. But there's far more of that out here. There's far more people that are good, decent, independent-minded people that they don't want to deal with all the baggage that comes with all the assistance, with all the system. And so they're just fine living without it. They'll figure out a different way. And that's where we have to get as a people. We have to find different ways or just learn to do without. Because the more you feel that you have to have something, the more that there's a desperate need to get that electricity in your home or to get that food from the store on your shelf or that medical care or that medicine or whatever it is, that little safe, secure, world where they take care of you. The more that you need that, well, the more that they're going to control you. It's how it works, folks. So you need to be cutting that umbilical cord. You need to be becoming as self-sufficient as you can. And the more self-sufficient that you are, well, the more independent that you are. And that's why I encourage community, encourage banding together with like-minded people, because it makes it easier to do that. And in groups of people, you're stronger together and you can be more independent. Folks, this is what we have to be doing, or it's not going to go so well. We need to be getting our houses in order, preparing mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next video.